I just want to share something that was really top of mind, and especially for the past 2 to 3 weeks, what I'm seeing is happening, especially in teams where there's either lack of leadership, there's so many things going on, lack of knowing what is going to move the biggest lever, and it comes down to prioritization. And I just jotted down a few ideas that I want to share with you, because what I'm seeing on my end, keep in mind that especially if you're not in a management position and if you're not skilled in how to lead people, how to prioritize, how to strategize, these are things that are not going to be common and they are not going to be obvious, and you will need to learn. As I was saying, prioritization is a skill, and more you're doing it, better you become at how to prioritize. So you're going to take up lots of tasks and lots of things that you should not. So based on that, again, I just want to share some of the things that I'm noticing, especially with teams where there's no clear prioritization. And this is based on discussions that I'm having with brands that we're managing, and we're managing their ads. And yes, while we are providing a service for them, I'm seeing more often the need of, hey, help me see clearly, because right now I am not seeing clearly, yet I need clarity. I need to prioritize. I need to focus on the right things. Here are some things that I'm seeing right now. What one major problem is when it comes down to prioritization is that there's no actual objective. For example, when it comes down to Amazon ads, when we're saying improving account performance, that is such a vague thing. It cannot be more vague than that. So instead of account performance, what you can do, or improving account performance, what you can do is analyze, okay, increasing contribution profit. That is one specific goal. Improving tacos while holding volume. That's again one specific goal. Launching 3 products while achieving efficient rank, for example. That's one specific goal. Reduce wasted spend on non-strategic campaigns. Improving cash conversion by aligning ads to inventory reality. Needless to say, yet it's still top of mind and still so hard for many marketers to understand that actual results when it comes down to ads, it has to do, especially if you're selling physical products, with inventory, and inventory management is a real deal. So as you can see from the, hey, I want to improve account performance, into what exactly do I want to achieve? Because once that you understand what you want to achieve, it's going to be way clearer for you. First off, do I have the resources to do that? Second, do I have the team in place? 3, do I realistically calculate that if I want to grow by 2 times or 3 times my account, do I have operationally all the items and all the skills for my team to achieve that? Because otherwise what is going to happen is that you're going to have these very big goals and they're too vague, and everyone is going to be so stressed out because they do want to make the goal reality, yet people won't know how to do it just because they either don't have the skills, either they don't have the leverage that comes through resources, either they simply don't have accountability from their managers to, okay, what's next, what's to prioritize. Again, if the goal is going to be unclear, prioritization is really impossible. The second thing that I noticed is separate outputs from outcomes. Now, what this actually means is that most teams are failing when it comes down to outcomes and aligning outcomes and outputs. And let me start with defining what outputs are. In this case, for example, output is getting back to management, right? So campaigns launch, how many campaigns you launch, how many keywords you added, how many search terms you reviewed, how many creatives you refreshed, how many reports you delivered, how many meetings you had. Those are all outputs of what happened. Now, outcomes, when we are defining outcomes, we are defining them as more profitable revenue. That is a clear, did I move the needle, yes or no, right? Did we have more profitable revenue? Did we lower wasted ad spend? Did we have higher conversion for our top selling ASIN? Did we improve ranking? Did we have better inventory sell-through? Did we have clearer learnings for future decisions? As you see, these are 2 things that seem to be treated so similarly, yet they are different just because one shows busyness in achieving a goal. The other one shows, hey, actually trackability. Now that I know X, I'm going to do the next step, rather than, oh, these are all the things that I've done. Really important. And again, blunt truth here is that a lot of agencies and a lot of in-house teams, they're going to sell you on outputs because outcomes are really harder to achieve. Now, the third thing that I'm noticing is when it comes down to prioritization is ranked by expected impact, not by effort expected. Let me tell you what this actually means or what we are seeing on our end. For example, a useful filter whenever you're going to go down into the work that you've done, is it meaningful, is it not? For every task, you would ask, what business outcome does this move? If it's moving a business outcome, that's great. It means that you are actually producing an outcome. It's not just output, right? How big is the likelihood of impact here? So if you are going to even do the small tasks and they seem to be adding up, that is like, look, I have a 20 task list done for the day, and versus, hey, I worked just on this one thing, but that is at the highest level for the business, it's going to have bigger impact rather than all the things that you've managed to do during the day. Third question here is, how fast will we know if it worked? Now, this is, again, strategic thinking, but if you know clearly something is going to take 3 months, you're going to wait for the 3 months to work. You're not going to set up your expectation for 3 weeks to work. Because if you're setting up your expectation for 3 weeks to work, what you're going to do is, if you're managing a team, for example, you're going to set them up for failure just because you have wrong expectations from the actual outputs, right? You're usually probably not counting for the things that are going to go wrong. Most people don't. So that is going to be, how fast will we know if it worked? It's a good question. It's a good filter for you to ask during this process. What is the downside if we do nothing? Very important question, especially for very busy people who are just doing busy work. Sometimes it can be that if you did the task, actually moved nothing. It did not damage, it did not improve, it did nothing. So if we are thinking this way, what is the downside if we do nothing? Most of the time what you're going to see is, if you're doing nothing, some of the things that you're currently doing have no real impact. But other things, like, for example, if we needed inventory to send in and we did miss the deadline, and then now we are back 2 weeks or 3 weeks just because we simply forgot to prioritize that task, that actually was a big lever mover in helping you achieve the goal, and you did not do it. And is this reversible? If anything is not reversible, clearly that is a high priority impact. If it's reversible, that is going to tell you if it's important or not to do that task. So this is the next thing. Really, as you can see, much sharper view you have on urgent versus what is important is going to help you achieve that specific goal. Now, the fourth thing that I'm seeing, and here again, bear with me as I'm going to go through this one, because these are really important things that I'm seeing, and it's honestly strategic thinking that I'm charging for when it comes down even to brands. The fourth thing that I'm seeing is really distinguishing between leverage work and maintenance work. Now, keep in mind that, for example, us as an agency, for us, we need to do both of them. We need to also do maintenance work and also do leverage work when it comes down to how do we manage an account. Because if you're charging ads, you cannot create a new campaign and increase sales, PPC sales, right? Because PPC sales come from PPC campaigns and whatever you did on the ad side, right? So now distinguishing between these two, the leverage work versus maintenance work, it's a huge eye-opener. Fixing account structure so budget allocation improves. This is leverage work instead of, I'm just going to maintain the budget at XYZ just because this is what it was told to me, right? Tightening measurement and reporting around contribution margin. Again, this is huge because most of the time, again, this is strategic thinking. This is strategic work. This comes down to not only you're a follower of I'm doing XYZ SOP, but rather than, okay, now I am doing XYZ SOP, but how does that, it's going to actually affect whatever I'm doing. Cleaning retail readiness issues, hurting conversion. Most of the time what I'm seeing brands, they're just like, oh, ads, let's throw more money at ads. And some brands are ready for that additional traffic, that additional exposure, but others are not, and they don't understand it. And they are like, okay, should we throw more ad spend to it? And like, no, first let's fix the freaking main image because we did not do any work on that. And that is really high leverage for us. And once that we've done that, okay, let's try the rest of the images as well, because then we're not going to trick, quote unquote, the customer just to click and then bounce to a different listing. And of course, prioritizing this for the main ASIN. As you can see, it really adds value. And when it comes down to maintenance work, this is really important. This is something that keeps the machine running. We don't need to optimize bits. We don't need to negate targets that are not relevant. We do need to do search terms to see which search terms are working for us. We need to do which product actually is profitable or not. So these are important things. However, maintenance matters, but teams often drown in it just because it feels productive. This is why I'm saying that it's great to have a system when it comes down to feeling productive while being productive, right? So that is the idea. I think that these are the few things that I'm seeing, especially right now, and right from the discussions that I'm having with brands that we're managing or that they are jumping on a free strategy call that we are offering before taking over an account and handling them. These are the main things that I'm seeing those brands are missing, and it has nothing to do with they're not educated, they don't know what they're doing. Keep in mind, these are brands that are doing sometimes even millions. And it has to do just with the skill set. Did you acquire skills to be more priority focused, so you know exactly which are the things that you should be prioritized, which are the things you should not be prioritized, and which are the ones that are going to move the needle?